I mean, is Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points? I would hope Quinn Ewers put up a decent stat line against Arizona State. If he didn't, we have a real problem.
You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get the sauce. Hey, happy Wednesday to you all. Hope you're all having a lovely afternoon. Hope you all had a better Tuesday night than I did. Lost every bet I placed last night, which was 5 games. Technically 0-6 because I bet Oklahoma twice. And they got their shit slapped. I mean, Florida just couldn't miss a shot there in the first half and got out to a lead. They had that one white dude, that point guard. He could not miss. He was just stepping into contested 27-footers, no doubters. So yeah, not a good Tuesday night. Here's Chris. Chris is here. We're going to go through one NBA game, and it's not an exciting one. Then we'll get into some college basketball, which is obviously the more fun attraction tonight. But we're bringing Chris on. One NBA game. Chris, I put up a video on this one. I said under a pass. It's moved up to 228.5. It would still be under a pass. I know that when we all look at the Lakers, we think nothing but overs right now, right? Completely understandably so. It's a completely offensive-centered team, especially since the trade. Anthony Davis was their best defensive piece. We don't know where the defense is coming from and all that. Still shouldn't be the fastest-paced game in the world. And also, the recent Laker success on the offensive side of the ball, surprisingly, has come from beyond the arc. They've been shooting the 3-ball, this Lakers team. And the Hornets, look, there's not many things you could say are elite about the Charlotte Hornets, but they play great defense against the 3-ball. You can't light the Hornets up beyond the arc. They play great defense out there. So this offensive onslaught we've seen from the Lakers, this outside shooting spree, I don't think it's going to happen here against the Hornets. Now, the Lakers are still going to score on Charlotte, but instead of the 3-point party that we've seen from the Lakers offense, I think we're going to see full possessions. We're going to see Luka Doncic and LeBron clear out, get some isolation, set up the offense. I think it's going to be a slower paced game. So even though I do think the Lakers are going to score on Charlotte pretty easily because it's Luka Doncic and LeBron James on the floor at the same time, I think they're going to have to work to do it rather than just light them up from outside. So I think the line's about right. I would probably have this at about 13 personally. So I don't know if there's any value in betting aside. I do think we're going to see a slower paced game. And look, the Hornets offense, we know they could score with LaMelo on the floor, but I'm not expecting much. I took an over with LaMelo out there, and it wasn't even close before the break. And so it would be under a pass. I'm not betting this. I already have a couple bets lined up for tomorrow. I'm pretty much just looking at tomorrow for the NBA. It's under a pass for me.
Yeah, that's interesting, Kyle, because I was looking at over just because, like you said, LaMelo comes back. We know the pace is going to be faster. I did watch a video this morning. I kind of feel like Charlotte will probably play a lot faster. I feel like the Lakers won't care as much about defense in this game because they play tomorrow. They got Portland tomorrow, and it's a road game. So that kind of like lends itself to an over. I also looked at this situational spot, Kyle. We don't see this happen too often where both of these teams have this much rest because of the All-Star break. And this was interesting. In the Killer Sports database, double-digit favorites in their first game back after the All-Star break are not only 15-10 against the spread, so they're covering 60%, 9-1 against the spread since the start of 2019. So last 10 times have been very successful. But the totals are actually 18-5-2 to the over, 73.8% if both teams have at least 5 days rest, and the favorite is laying double digits in this spot. So I kind of leaned over. The total has gotten a little too out of hand for me, and I kind of felt like that. I'm with you, Kyle. I didn't bet it. I don't know. The NBA is like, I hate that we get all the questions, right? Like everybody's questionable. You have no idea who's going to play. I know they've been upgraded to probable now, but if I wanted this number, when I looked at this game like 4 days ago, the total was 223.5. That's what I got written in my notes. It's up to 229 though. So maybe a little bit more towards the under now. But where I capped it at 223.5 a couple of days ago, it was definitely a little bit more of an over game for me. As far as the side goes, Kyle, You said you make this 13. You know how I feel. I'm a diehard Laker fan. Like I do not want to lay this many points with the Lakers. However, I'll say this: they are 3-1 this season when they've been a double-digit home favorite. So they have covered. They've covered these numbers. However, Charlotte on the opposite side has been really good as well. They're 60% ATS as a dog this season, 58% as a road dog, and slightly unprofitable as a double-digit road dog. But I feel like most of those games didn't have LaMelo. Right. So it all feels about right to me, too, Kyle. Like maybe something live, but I didn't bet this one either. Don't want to just say anything. Yeah,
it's shitty that we're NBA's back and it's like this game sucks, but that's the situation we're in. All right, we'll be back. Chris will be back tomorrow when we actually have some bets. I already have one posted in the Discord, but I'll be posting a video tonight. I'm going through them. So Chris,
best of luck, Kyle.
See you tomorrow.
I'll talk to you later. All right, Toast.
All right, getting Toast on the screen. We'll talk about some college hoops. Got CLV in this first one. But basically, this first one is Providence. I thought Nebraska Penn State was the first game. Whoops.
Either way. And this one too. It's 1.5 now.
Oh, it is the first game. Okay.
You got CLV in both of them.
No, I didn't bet this one.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I said Penn State on the show last night, but I don't think Penn State's any good. So
before we talk about college basketball, we have a proud word from our goated sponsors at Factor 75.
Today's episode is brought to you by Factor 75. As you guys know, I'm a big Factor 75 guy. I love it. I live by it. Factor 75 all the way for me. Looking for gourmet meals? Try meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, truffle butter, broccolini, and asparagus. Factor now offers loads of snack options like breakfast, smoothies, juices, small bites, and more to keep me going no matter what is on the schedule for that day. Skip the overpriced takeout trap. Factor's cheaper and way more delicious. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door. They're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes. Head on over to factor75.com or click the link below and use the code 50SAUCE. That's 50 sauce. That'll get you 50% off plus free shipping on your first Factor box. That's code 50SAUCE at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box.
Factor doesn't say it explicitly, but Kyle also didn't know what class and self-respect was until he had Factor 75 either. So.
I was lost until I found Factor 75. All right. Anyway, Nebraska, Penn State. Last night on the midnight show, I said Penn State. Didn't bet it. Penn State kind of sucks, but I also think Nebraska sucks, and they've actually looked pretty good recently. So sell high on Nebraska, but I'm not betting this. So Penn State or pass.
I bet Penn State +2. I know on the show last night I kind of said lean Nebraska, but the more I look at this, I'm not going to let the line change my mind. That's part of the reason why I was leaning towards Nebraska last night. But Penn State's been absolutely terrible. There's no question about that, at home or on the road. But again, I just don't really think Nebraska is that good. And as we know, they just came back from 20 points down at halftime or whatever it was against Northwestern to get that win. Now they got to go on the road again and face a Penn State team that it's either one or the other. Either they're going to get up for one of these games, Nebraska being probably the best game on their schedule, not named, I guess, Wisconsin, a couple games at the end. But this is one of the games that they could possibly win. They only have this home game and the home game against Maryland. I doubt that they win that home game against Maryland. So I'll take the 2 points with Penn State. And again, I say desperate spot, if they're going to do something, but I just feel like they're going to play well tonight.
Someone said Factor 75 gives me the squirts. Next up.
You gotta eat probiotics.
Thank you for buying Factor. That's always a positive.
Here's CLV King at it again. Providence +3.5. Not really a big deal. Look, I'm a sniper. When I see value, no, I'm joking. I was tailing. Was it Trevor? It was somebody on the
both picked off Providence.
Yeah, and then but I heard it on the Pump Fake Pod first. Oh, wait, no, maybe it was on our show. I forget. But I was tailing somebody. They told me a bunch of people are out for Providence, so I took Providence.
Trevor. Remember before the show, Trevor's like, all right, I got some news. Don't share it. Don't share the news. But I'm almost positive Schwarber's out. We got on the live. So, Schwarber's out.
He said don't share it?
Well, he was kind of joking, but that's why we laughed, because that was the first thing that you said.
Oh, I didn't know he said not to share that.
He didn't say don't share it. He said it wasn't official. So, but he's been very, very spot on with anything Georgetown basketball.
I don't remember hearing that he said it wasn't official.
But anyway, Sorber didn't have a boot on yesterday, had a boot on today, most likely meaning that he will not be playing for Georgetown. And if you take him out of the lineup, this Georgetown team is just really, really bad. They're already kind of bad in the first place. I leaned Providence at 3.5. I honestly thought I bet them last night with everybody else. I just forgot, I guess. It was just a mistake by me. And when I woke up this morning, it was like 1.5. So I just ended up passing. But it would only be Providence here for me.
Yeah, plus 3.5. Georgetown's injured or Sorber out. You heard him. Next.
Not to mention Cooley's mom is dead. If he's not coaching, that's not a positive thing. But I'm not making a joke of that. Not making a joke out of it.
No,
I was going to say, Jesus Christ.
No, the coach's mom passed away, for real. That actually happened. But he actually might not coach the game. I didn't even know that was a possibility.
That's what I meant to say, yeah.
Vanderbilt, Kentucky. I took Vanderbilt on the show last night. Kind of wish I did. I'd be holding the point of value. But I really don't know. I think Toast has Kentucky team total over here. I believe I saw in your ticket. So, I would lean towards over as well. Seems like Vanderbilt always plays in these high-scoring games. But
exactly. We have Vanderbilt, a team that not only do they play high-scoring games, they really struggle to defend the three ball. One of the worst. Actually, they are the worst in the SEC as far as defending the three. Matter of fact, Vanderbilt's defense is one of the worst in the SEC. And the only thing that they really do positively is force turnovers. And Kentucky can turn it over. So I don't mind the over or a Vanderbilt team total over either. But I just want to focus on Kentucky shooting the ball with one of the most experienced teams in the country, the best the best three-point shooting team in the conference, the best offense in the conference at home, where they always tend to play well. I get that they don't have Lamont Butler and Jackson Robinson, but they have multiple other guys that I trust, especially guys like Amari Williams, Andrew Carr, and what's his face? I can't.
Snooki Adams.
Snooki Adams and Colby Brea as well. So I don't know if Snooki Adams is going to play tonight. I saw he was in a boot as well.
Suspended.
But hopefully he gets in there. Oh, that's right. Suspended. Failed a drug test for the 4th time this year. Hate to see it. But either way, I think that you're going to see a whole bunch of points in this game. I don't want to play. And the only reason I didn't lay it with Kentucky, one, it was that weird 5.5 number that favorites never seem to cover. And I don't really want to deal with the Kentucky defense. So Kentucky team total over for me.
It's at, you can get it 83.5, by the way, for those of you looking for a number on that. Next.
3.5. Okay.
Sorry, Beaver. I should have said that.
No, it's all good, my friend.
SMU Notre Dame. I think you're on the wrong side of this, but I didn't bet it, so I think this might be a candidate for fake sharp play of the day. Notre Dame sucks.
We need to get a graphic or something going.
I was thinking of jingle, like fake sharp play of the day.
Dude, I'm not even kidding. I've heard
it on that over the break. God damn it.
And I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you're not the first person to say fake sharp, but I've heard that like 3 times.
Oh, no. I'm not the first person to say it.
No, I know. I'm just saying, I just thought it was funny. Like, I wasn't saying they stole it. I just think it's funny that it's like starting to become like a thing now. So, but regardless, I played Notre Dame plus 2.5 last night. Obviously they're bad, but I think both these teams are kind of bad. I get that SMU has been playing good basketball, but at the same time, again, they're just not a team that I trust. They just lost to Wake Forest by 10. They beat Pittsburgh, who's been kind of reeling up and down this year. They beat Virginia Tech, Stanford, Cal, NC State. All those teams are bad. Miami, Virginia. I mean, so anytime that SMU has stepped up in competition, a la Louisville, North Carolina, and I do mean North Carolina as a step up in competition. That's how bad the other teams that they've been playing are. And Wake Forest, they haven't done well. And now you have a Notre Dame team that won a nice game against Boston College and then kind of got whooped on by Louisville, but everybody's been getting whooped up on by Louisville. You had Shrewsbury yelling at these guys through the media and stuff. I just feel like you're going to get a very focused effort out of Notre Dame tonight. And again, it's at home, and I don't really trust SMU. So we'll see what happens. I mean, maybe it is fake sharp, but I'll definitely take the 2.5 with Notre Dame.
Last game, SMU was laying over 6 points to Wake. Now they're basically in a pick'em with the trash that is Notre Dame. SMU is significantly better. This is called an overreaction. Notre Dame is fake sharp.
Then bet SMU.
I'm too scared. I just bet SMU against Wake, thinking I was being sharp.
Oh, you did? Oh, that's right. Yeah, that we all did. Yeah.
I mean, I had an excellent Saturday. That this is one of my losses is SMU. Bunch of cucks. Next game.
Has Clemson on deck, which is a big for them. So, little things.
Coming off a loss, this is a big game, dude. Don't ask why. This one's loaded up. I saw Toast had a bet on it. Navy Colgate.
Yeah. I'm taking Colgate here. I think they are significantly the much better team. I know that the Ken Palm rankings don't really show that and whatnot, but I think that people are trying to bet Navy up just a little bit because they have won their last 2 games, and you have a Colgate team coming off a double overtime loss to Boston University. Boston's really bad. I think now coming back home, Colgate gets right. They're the best offense in their conference. Navy's a really good defense as well, but Navy can't really score, and so I think that's a reason. I felt when I originally looked at this, I thought this number was kind of high because of how good Navy's defense has been, and the fact that Navy they did already beat Navy this year by 6, and that game was on the road. But at the same time, again, I thought that this number was kind of telling, and so for me, I'm getting Colgate in the best offense in a get right spot at home. I'll take my chances laying the 6.5.
Hold on. So now Trevor in the comments is saying Boopy Miller probably out for SMU. So apparently there's 2 key injuries to SMU. Where was this information on the Midnight Show,
He
Trevor?
said that last night.
I don't think he did.
I'm pretty sure he did.
I'm not tailing this shit.
Because he's the kid that we did talk about it because I was talking about the Andy Enfield press conference when he said he was really upset about him not being able to play against Wake. And it made it sound like he wasn't going to play for the next couple games. I don't know.
I don't remember any of that. Yeah. All I remember is fake sharp. Next game. Another one that Toast had on his ticket, East Tennessee against UNC Greensboro.
Oh yes, I'm definitely on East Tennessee here. They lost 2 games in a row. A really, really bad loss on the road to Western Carolina, and then they had another road game against a really decent Chattanooga team, decent in the context of all these teams, I might add. And now they face a UNC Greensboro team back at home that's won 4 games in a row. It's kind of flying high. They've only lost a couple games since like the beginning of January, so they've been playing really well. But I think that East Tennessee State's their defense plays. I think these teams are evenly matched as far as defense is concerned. UNC Greensboro definitely has the better offense. I can't argue that, but they also rely a lot on the 3 ball, and they haven't been as successful on the road. They're also very small, so I think that East Tennessee State's going to have a huge advantage with the rebounding in this game. So I played East Tennessee State. This is like one of my favorite bets of the day, actually.
Trevor is adamant that he did say it, and he threatened to go clip it.
I told you. I remember because I watched the press conference and we talked about it.
So this is one of your favorite plays of the day, Eastern Tennessee.
Yes, it is.
Next. By far.
This is on Fox 5 at 8 p.m., right?
It's primetime.
It's Fox 7.5, Beaver. So.
They're actually interrupting the Lakers-Hornets game to put that on.
Wow.
Let's talk about a real ball club. IUND money line. The market continues to disrespect IUND. Really like playing them at home rather than on the road, but Detroit Mercy is not a threat. This line should be I make this game IUND minus 8.5.
I played IUND too.
It's a good bet.
I can't really say much about it after that little thing that you just went on, but I do think they're a better team. And yes, they haven't. I would actually argue they actually haven't been that bad on the road. Some of their last road games, Cleveland State, you don't expect them to win that game. You don't expect them to beat Oakland. They went and beat Green Bay. Robert Morris, you can't expect them to win that game. They beat Youngstown State.
Damn right.
Yeah, so again, I mean, yes, have they been losing games on the road? Yes, but at the same time, I think that the teams that they're losing to on the road are night and day better than Detroit Mercy. And as I always like to say, in what world is Detroit Mercy a favorite against any team in college basketball? So yeah, I did play in IUND last night. Famous
words that Toast always says.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm. Someone says this game's going to be on ESPN 8 The Ocho. You're home for obscure sports. North Dakota State, South Dakota State. Trevor liked the Jackrabbits last night. I know Toast is on the Jackrabbits. You know the line moved against you.
I know that makes me even more confident.
Bro, this voodoo shit. No, you should be more confident on that.
I'm just telling you how things have played out over the last 30 units
Fair.
that I've lost over the last month. But fair. Yeah, I like South Dakota here. First of all, I really hate the spot for North Dakota State. I know it's a little bit of a revenge spot for them after losing earlier this year. But at the same time, they've played 2 straight games at home. Both those games went to overtime against 322 Oral Roberts and 326 Denver. And now they got to go on the road to South Dakota State, who I think is obviously a much better team. And I also think they're a much better team than North Dakota State personally. So I know that they're kind of even and whatnot, but North Dakota State doesn't play defense at all. Their offense really kind of holds them all together. At least South Dakota State plays some defense. They're like one of the best defenses in their conference. So I honestly think that South Dakota State's head and shoulders better, and they should be 10-point favorites or close to 10-point favorites at home or on a neutral. So again, I made this game 9. I have no problem laying it with South Dakota State here in the Summit League matchup. They need this game too.
I'm good. Next. Let's talk AAC.
Oh my gosh, you're pulling all my tickets.
Yeah, man. I had to load it up.
I love it.
We got Tulsa, North Texas. Tulsa catching 13.5. Some AAC ball.
Tulsa's been kind of a wagon. And I'm just going to keep on riding Tulsa. Nobody wants to talk about it. I don't know their exact record, but I'm not exaggerating. I've played them probably 4 or 5 times in the last 3 weeks, and I think I've cashed every single one of them. So anyway, they went through a little bit of a losing streak with UAB, Tulane, Memphis, and Florida Atlantic. And again, most of those, only Memphis is probably comparable to North Texas, but I just don't really think they've been playing that bad. They lost by 3 on the road to Tulane, and then they lost by 11 to Memphis on the road. But Memphis and North Texas are completely different. Memphis can actually score. North Texas can't. And then as far as Tulsa goes, they have won their last 2 games against Temple and UTSA. Again, not trying to poke holes at anything that North Texas has done. They're always consistently a good program. They're number 2 in this conference for a reason. But Tulane's like 4 or 5. It's not like they're that much better. And the total of this game is like 130 or something like that. A super, super low total. It might even be lower than that. I haven't looked. But again, I know that how good North Texas is defensively, but at the same time, I just don't think they're 14 points better than a Tulsa team that continues to play well and continues to cover. So yeah, I took Tulsa. Actually, I had them at 14.5. Obviously, it's down to 13.5 now. I would still play it at that number.
Yeah. So Tulsa, after starting out the season 3-13 against the spread, they're actually 8-3 against the spread in their last 11. So Tulsa has been covering. I'm not betting it. I'm not betting it though. So on to the next one.
I didn't know it was that good.
Let's talk Redbirds. Bradley.
Let's do it.
Bradley, Illinois State. Toast has a bet on this one too.
I do. I really like Illinois State here. Okay, first of all, I don't really know how good Bradley is. I think that some people get enamored with them because of their 3-point shooting ability. But they've been kind of back to what I think that we expected from them the last couple weeks. I mean, they've lost 3 in a row, then they've came back and won 3 in a row. But they're off a really big win on the road at Drake, where they won that game by 2. And now they got to go on the road and play an Illinois State team that's lost 3 games in a row, but 3 of their last 4 games were on the road. They actually played Drake pretty close as well. That game was at home, and now they face a Bradley team where I think that they're going to have a pretty decent rebounding advantage over Bradley, which I think is going to come in key here because, like I just talked about, all we know about Bradley is they like to shoot threes and they live at the free throw line. So if Bradley wins this game because they shoot 15 more free throws than Illinois State, again, they can have my money. But I think that Bradley's going to be jacking up a whole bunch of threes and having a whole bunch of misses, and Illinois State's going to be cleaning up on the rebounds. And not to mention, it's not like Illinois State is an offense that's bad. They're number 1 in the conference at effective field goal percentage. They're number 2 in the conference at 3-point percentage. So they can match Bradley scoring wise. It's just a matter of Illinois State defensively can show up tonight. This is like the biggest game left on their schedule. If actually, matter of fact, it is the biggest game that left on their schedule, and I think it's their last home game. Maybe they have one more left, but by far the students should be there. They should be jacked up for this game. I think Illinois State wins this game outright.
Trevor in the comments says Illinois State lost by 4 at home. It's a revenge spot, and Bradley's off Drake. And 21-6 versus 15-12. Redbird up. I don't even understand exactly what he's saying, but he's on Illinois State. I got that part. Redbird up. Put Illinois State up for me. Let's do. I'll bet this. I'll bet this mess.
Okay, now you're
Illinois.
getting into the weeds.
Yeah. It's not IUND, but I'm not to dabble.
I love that you found IUND. Like
Yeah.
that. It literally warms my heart.
I mean, yeah, just a team that comes through for you and understands that you put your faith in them and respects that, like IUND. Let's go to the next one.
I know. Just let it go.
Why is it still 1.5?
I know.
Why is it still 1.5? How is this number not 4.5, 5 by now? Who? I would like to speak to the sharp action that's coming in on the Hawkeye side, keeping this number at 1.5. Iowa sucks, dude.
No, I get it. I mean, I guess my only argument to that was I don't think that Oregon has shown that they should be 2 possession favorites on the road either. The way that they've played. I mean, their last 2 games were both at home against a hobbled Northwestern team and a Rutgers team that isn't good. And then previous to that, their wins were Washington and Penn State. So they have a couple decent wins against Maryland and Ohio State, at the beginning of January. But that seems like a very, very long time ago. But for me, again, I know that Iowa just got mollywopped against Maryland by 30 points after scoring. That was like one of the worst beats of my life, and I'm dead serious when I say that. I had Maryland team total over 75.5. I think they had like 54 at halftime, and then they proceeded to score like 16 points in the second half or what have you. It was just absolutely terrible. But I trust Dana Altman. I guess that's kind of where I land in this one. We finally have them starting to play well. Yes, they lost all those games in that big chunk of, when you look at Oregon's schedule, they lost. All those games were on the road. Minnesota on the road, UCLA on the road, Michigan on the road, Michigan State on the road. They lost all those games. Like I guess, and maybe it's because I've watched Oregon and I trust Dana Altman a lot, but I trust him to figure things out. I think Oregon defensively should be just fine here. It's just a matter of Oregon can keep pace with Iowa, and I think they should be able to do that. Both, not to mention Oregon's the way better free throw shooting team, and Iowa defense can't do anything. So, I don't really love this one. I did bet Oregon, but I'm not banging the table for anybody to follow it. I got Oregon plus 1.5. The line flipped. It is what it is. I don't know. I agree with you that this line 1.5 has got me quite uneasy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're trying to get to Iowa, you can point at the fact that they haven't had the easiest schedule. I mean, you got like Purdue, at Ohio State,
Oregon's played
Wisconsin.
a much better schedule than that.
No, I mean, I'm just talking about recently. But that, I mean, you got a home loss to Minnesota in there. This is just disgusting. Iowa's trash. Is Freeman still hurt or whatever the hell? Is he still hurt?
Owen Freeman, yeah, he hasn't played their last like 4 or 5 games, something like that. So I'm pretty sure he's still out. I'm most positive, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like he's missed the last 4 games. Yeah, what the hell? This team sucks. Ducks. Next.
So again, yeah, Ducks are pretty square. I would assume probably one of the more public bets on the board.
I would imagine it's the most public bet on the board. Oregon. Speaking of public road teams, let's talk about Alabama.
Feed me, Bama. Hello, world.
You're siding with the world in this one.
I know. I love the world.
I've
spent a lot of time handicapping, looking at this Alabama team over the last 2 weeks, doing a video on them kind of helped and whatnot, but I do feel like I know this Alabama team pretty well, and I love the spot for them. Doesn't take a genius to see that they've been fantastic off a loss. Lost to Purdue on the road, come back to a semi-home game, put 100 on Illinois. Lost to Oregon on a neutral, come back, put 94 on North Carolina. Lost to Ole Miss at home, come back, score 102 to beat Kentucky at home. And now they play Auburn. They lost to Auburn, and I think they do the same thing to Missouri. I know that Missouri's been pretty good lately, winning their last 2. Their only 2 losses over the last 6 games is Tennessee and Texas A&M. But at the same time, I just think that this Alabama team, just very similar to the Alabama-Auburn handicap, I just think that Alabama's better, and they've played the second hardest schedule in the country. And this Missouri team has been really good as a dog, but not as good as a favorite. And at home, I mean, I just don't really know what to expect from them. They beat Arkansas and Oklahoma, but they lost to Texas A&M. They won a sneaker against Ole Miss, beating LSU and Alabama State. And I guess the Vanderbilt win looks kind of good now, but they really haven't been that impressive at home. I know that everybody likes to point to the Kansas win at home. That was December 8th. But as we know now, Kansas is absolutely terrible. So I don't really give you a bump up for beating Kansas. Sure. I mean, I'm sure it meant something for your program or whatnot, but this Alabama team is very, very good. They're pissed off and they're very good off of a loss. And they've also been extremely good on the road this year as well. So I trust this Alabama team. I don't care how square it is. If you're going to give me Alabama plus points in this matchup, I will take it all day. I have over a full unit on Alabama. Yeah, there's no question in my mind. Alabama's the side here today.
Yeah, I think I'm switching teams to Alabama. Trevor, he made a compelling case, but the more I think of it, the more I think he might be full of shit here. Alabama plus 1.5. I might bet that. You're right. I mean, they're significantly better, and it's not like it's a bad spot. They're coming off a loss.
I think in Missouri, part of it is that Missouri's been really good. Like they're especially as a dog. That's so again, I get the Missouri side because they've been good and whatnot. But again, I think that they had that Florida game that they won on the road. And they came back and won. And I think since then, everybody's been kind of looking towards their way. But since then, they really haven't beat anybody that good. Their best win is Ole Miss. And I mean, Alabama's 3 times better than Ole Miss is.
Yeah, and you really can't trust Brady Cook in these big games. So let's go to the next one.
Turnover machine.
Miami, Florida State. I bet this one.
Me too.
Miami plus 8.5. Just a pure fate of Florida State as an 8.5 point favorite. Look, Miami is one of the worst teams in the ACC, maybe the worst. But Florida State isn't much higher. And 8.5, Florida State laying 8.5 is comical. So I'm betting Miami plus 8.5. This is not a bet on Miami. This is a fade of Florida State minus 8.5. I would take a lot of mid-majors against Florida State at this number, plus 8.5. Florida State sucks.
Yeah, I agree. I'm on Miami as well. Yes, Miami was really, really bad the month of January. But since it's turned to February, they went and beat Notre Dame. Again, they're not a very good team. Then they went on the road and only lost by 10 to Louisville. And you say, yeah, they lost that game. Well, guess what? Louisville beats everybody by 15 plus. So a 10-point loss on the road to Louisville, that's like that's a good game to me. Like I don't downgrade them for playing 10 points to Louisville. Then they come back home. They beat Syracuse. I mean, by what, 3-4 possessions? And then they go on the road and lose to Pittsburgh by 9. And Pittsburgh kind of controlled that game. I mean, I guess my point is I don't think that Pittsburgh really kind of controlled that game. It was kind of closer than I thought it was. But everybody's banking on Florida State coming and bouncing back after getting absolutely throttled by Clemson. But I don't understand how you can trust this team to do that. I mean, they just played Wake Forest to a 2-point game. They just played Notre Dame to a 7-point game. Boston College was a 1-point game. Stanford was a 7-point game. I mean, they're playing close games all over the board. So not only is Miami playing much better, I think that Florida State is not really playing that good either. So to be laying almost 3 full possessions to a Miami team that I do think is playing better and a little bit better under the radar. Yeah, it's Miami's a play for me for sure.
We got a comment in from Slippery Bananas. He says, "You're cooked, Kyle. I'm on Miami, and I'm 3-13 in the last 3 days." Things turn around for you, Slippery Bananas, right here. Miami is the beginning of your comeback. Slippery Bananas. This is the kind of
disgusting play that turns everything around right here. Once you cash Miami, you're going to feel so good about yourself. It's not even funny.
And also, what bananas are not slippery?
I still don't understand that reference, but
it's his name. I didn't just make it.
No, I get it. I don't understand. I've never tripped on a banana or slipped on a banana.
Well, I mean, if there was a banana on the floor, you would slip on it.
I feel like the rubbery
maybe you just never stepped on one.
The floor.
I think that the bananas are peeled, Toast. They're peeled bananas. Let's go to the next game. They're not just a banana in the peel. You've ever seen a Mario Kart? It's a peeled banana.
It's all peeled out, so you might step on the mushy part, but the grip.
No, but it's the banana's always tipped over. So like you step and the mushy part is on the bottom.
All right, I lose.
You've never played Mario Kart before.
I played Mario Kart or Mario Kart.
New Mexico, Boise State, yo. What do you got? Put this stupid game up for a reason. You probably have betted it.
I do, but I can't. We can't play it anymore. I played Boise State -2.5. I think they're close to 5 now. But I think that this number was criminally low for a Boise State team that's been playing really, really well, especially at home. The only home loss this year was at home to San Diego State. As far as in the conference wise, that might have actually been their only home loss total for all the year. All their losses come away. They just got absolutely embarrassed by San Diego State. And now they come home and play a New Mexico team that, again, I will not stop calling them Fugazi. I do not think this team is good. I think they get lucky a lot of the times. They just played Utah State, which is obviously a very good team. They won that game by 3. They should have lost that game. They should have lost the Wyoming game. They won that game by 4. Yeah, you blew Air Force out. Yeah, you look good against Colorado State and whatnot. But again, not to mention the fact that they blew out Boise by almost 20 points earlier in the season at the pit. I just think that these teams are much, much more closer than people are giving them credit for. At 5, I guess I would lean the Lobos, but at 2.5 or anything below a possession, I think it's Boise. And the only reason I say that is because I don't think that Boise is going to like absolutely blow them out. So like the difference between 2.5 and 5 is significant for me, because these teams usually play somewhat closer games. So, but I do like Boise State a lot here. They're a significantly better 3-point shooting team. Or I'm sorry, a free throw shooting team, and they don't really rely on the 3 ball, which could get New Mexico into foul trouble. Yeah, I really like Boise State here, but again, I played it at 2.5, not 5.
I don't know. I'm not betting this. So that's it. Tomorrow we're back to the full schedule, NBA. If you're submitting picks for the league tonight, you have 2 hours and 24 minutes. I forgot to send you the standings. It's all right. We'll do it tomorrow. I got off to a rough start this week, -3 units or whatever. So I'm in last place in my division, but still have 4 days. So if you had a rough start, you could still get back into it and get into the playoffs. So yeah, if you're in the league, you have 2 hours and 23 minutes to submit. Yeah, let's have ourselves a good one. Bet responsibly tonight. Hit me up in the Discord if you need me.